I am Surveyor Joseph Ajayi, MNIS, PMP. Surveying is about using principles and techniques to ascertain the X and Y, and of course the height, of any point of reference, taking measurements to a point of interest, and in turn determine the geometry, shape, and form of any part of the surface of the earth, and indeed below the surface of the earth. Land surveying is just an aspect of surveying. Other aspects of surveying includes mining surveying, engineering surveying, remote sensing and photogrammetry. We have utility surveying, we have engineering surveying, and of course it's expected that anybody that is called a surveyor will possess these skills that I have mentioned. Elementary geography tells us that the earth is actually not flat. It says the earth has a curvature. So when you're measuring a near object to some kilometers, you can assume that the land is flat because that curvature is negligible. So when you're doing search, you say you are doing cadastral survey, or you say you are doing plane surveying. When you're considering a very large expanse of land, or in terms of distance, a very long distance, then the curvature of the earth becomes very important. Then we have to bring in some geometric principles such that we can account for the curvature of the earth. That basically is geodetic surveying. I've heard people say, I want to buy a plot of land. And of course, plot of land is relative. If you buy a plot of land in some industrial scheme, a plot there is 1,000 something square meter. In some other places, you'll see an estate, for example, they say their plot is 450 square meter. If you approach an omolile, so to say I want to buy a plot, your plot is as determined by the person. People want to buy a land and this is your plot. What is the boundary of the plot? Nobody knows. What title of the person who is selling to you has over the land? Nobody knows. What is the dimension of your plot? Nobody knows. In most cases, you will not even know the road that is servicing the plot you are buying. So, before you buy a land, a surveyor is expected to be consulted. Of course, it would help you find out those basic details or information about the parcel of the land in terms of helping you dig out what government interest is over the land, or in other case, try to help you establish if there is some form of encumbrance on the land. When you buy, that same surveyor is expected to formalize your interest in that parcel as identified and measured by him on a paper or a plan, which is also expected to transmit by registering it in the Surveyor General's office in whichever state that the land is domiciled, such that the government gets to know that this Mr. So has an interest over this portion of land. When you want to buy a land, what do you want to buy? Some people do not even know if the land is waterlogged. You've never been there. Some people buy water instead of land. If you want to buy a land, first person I expect anybody that wants to buy a land to consult is a surveyor. We've seen people buy land without properly registering their interest over any particular portion of a parcel. You have bought a land from a wide expanse of land. Omolile tells you they have all this land. Yours is supposed to be one plot. your plot as defined by your surveyor. But by the time you register your deed, a deed is drafted between you and this person who has transferred interest to you. Nothing is detailed on that deed relating to a survey plan. Eventually, what it means is you have bought a land out of nowhere from somebody who has a land everywhere. Eventually, it takes you to whichever land, because the survey plan or the deed of assignment you have says you have a plot in, for example, Shimewa. It did not tell you this is your plot in the deed that you have prepared. So tentatively, I'm saying if you buy a land without consulting a surveyor, and you have gone forward to call a barrister, a lawyer, to prepare a deed without making reference to a survey plan, what you have done is to buy a land from everywhere from somebody. I say there are three mistakes. First thing is to have purchased the land without consulting a surveyor or consulting a lawyer or even consulting both. Second thing is for you to have decided to patronize somebody who tells you he has so much land, but did not actually tell you which of the plot within his parcel is yours. You would also go ahead to register a deed or get a lawyer to draft a deed against a parcel that a surveyor did not prepare. A surveyor never measured. Invariably, what you have done is to tell this man to give you any part of his land for your use. Thirdly, another mistake is people get to contract some persons who appear or present themselves erroneously as a surveyor. Somebody who firstly is not schooled, they are always very available for you. They will present themselves as, in some cases, surveyor generals. And eventually, they are nowhere. They collect this money from you to do an assignment that they would never do. Yet, there are people who belong to an institution whom anybody can trace to an office, who has integrity, and of course, they will deliver this thing accordingly. If you have patronized the wrong surveyor at any point, it's a mistake on your part. First thing you should also check is, another thing you should check rather, is the integrity of the person in terms of the instrument the person who is selling to you has. It might tell you it's a bailiff of a land or bailiff of a community. It does not mean that he has genuine title over the land. It is paramount for whoever is buying to find a way, consulting a lawyer and a surveyor, to check the genuinity of whatever instrument they provide to you. Government policies. I would answer by saying it varies from state to state, and it changes from time to time. As we speak in Lagos State, for example, if you have a survey plan that is as old as 10 years, it is expected of you to go back to the surveyor who did the job for you previously to help you update it. Reason is, the interest of government in any area changes from time to time. The land that is said to be free 3 years ago might be committed as at today. The one that was committed yesterday, as at the time you did your survey plan, by now could be free. So these policies as to the extent of work to be carried out by a surveyor or in terms of measuring a land anywhere changes from time to time. Be that as it may, if it comes to guiding the activities of a surveyor, the Surveyor General of every state or the Surveyor General's office of every state is in that capacity to guide the activity, register, of course, the activity of surveyors. And of course, there is an institution of surveyors, Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, that has branches all over Nigeria, that also comes out to review from time to time the activities and, of course, the policies that guide the survey work from time to time. Yes and no. No, because we usually say no matter how tough or how impossible a terrain is, a surveyor will get there. He will get his job done. So no physical restriction. That's why we can say that we can actually measure on water. So no physical restriction. But when it comes to how far you can take that document you have prepared, that plan you have prepared further, there is restriction. In Lagos State, for example, if you have prepared a plan for someone who bought a land that is committed, you know, the person should also know that such instruments cannot be used to pursue any title. I think that's about the only restriction I know of. Charting is about getting geometric information about your land, of course, usually by a surveyor. The coordinates of diagonals of your boundaries, going to the office of the Surveyor General of the state to confirm the interest of government or the classification of such parcels or such area from which you are buying in the office of the Surveyor General. By this I mean, in Lagos, for example, there are lands or there are some areas that are acquired. Acquisition can also be committed or such that can be regularized. If it's a land that you have purchased that is such that can be regularized, then you might go forward or go further to regularize after purchase. But if you have made a mistake of buying a land that is committed, what you have done is have bought a land that you will never be able to use. I've seen instances of a particular client who came to us after he had purchased in Ikorodu. What he did was to buy a land that is sitting right inside the proposed 4th mainland bridge. Will the government forget that laudable project because of a parcel of land or because of such persons? The answer is no. In some cases, if you have bought a land that is, if it falls under an area that is called, that is revocable, or there is a revocation process on it, you have also done the wrong thing. Of course, again, there are some other categories of interest. Gazette. That land is such that there's a family or there are some persons who government has given the title to over that parcel of land. And of course, there are some other parts that are free. So basically, charting is you going to the office of the Surveyor General to confirm which of these classifications does your land fall in. And of course, it will inform you as to which way to go. Main instrument in land surveying. We have a total station, we have theodolite. Of course, total station measures the distance and angular measurements. Theodolite is basically angular. We have differential GPS of different class, different categories. We have the normal tapes. We have handheld GPS. We have, of course, and most recently, drones. Drones are used in land surveying now. I think aside that, I can also touch on some hydrographic survey to equipment. We have sonar scanners. We have echo sounders. Surveying is wide. Surveying is wide. I think that's basically what we use to do our activities, or carry out our activities. I will advise that anyone who wants to purchase any land anywhere should first consult a surveyor. The surveyor must be such who has an office, who has a face you can relate with. He must have an office, and every surveyor, as far as Nigeria is concerned, is expected to display his registration document in his office. 2, before you pay, go to the office of the Surveyor General, or get your surveyor to go to the office of the Surveyor General to confirm the status of this land by chatting. It is important. Thirdly, any deed of assignment that you are preparing or is being prepared for you should always reference a survey plan. That is the only thing that is relating that paper, the deed of assignment, to a particular portion of a land. Thank you.